Ah yes, the expensive luxury car. The first time anyone gets a few bucks, one of the first things that they do is they want to show it off. And to do this, they buy an expensive luxury car. Nothing says wealth and status like a Mercedes, Audi, or hell Maserati nameplate on the front end of your ride. But I'm pretty sure you're wondering, what do you do if you desperately need an expensive looking set of wheels, but you actually can't afford the real thing? The answer is you should buy one of the cars on this list. They're previously expensive luxury models that, with the help of depreciation, managed to come down to a reasonable price, with the majority of these cars costing you less than $15,000 at the door. The expensive looking luxury cars on this list are far more attainable to a much wider audience, and you'll be amazed about how many cool and prestigious cars that you could buy for an ordinary mid-sized family sedan, or even a used Honda Civic. So here are 7 cheap luxury cars that fool people into thinking that they're expensive. The Audi A5. Audi's another big name when it comes to luxury, and everyone knows just how expensive they are, or they think they do. The Audi A5 is one of the more affordable models, but it looks like it should be really expensive, and that's probably due to the fact of these 4 rings you see right here. But it could also be that modern, powerful visual design that the car has. The A5's 2.0T motor, sold in most VW Audi automobiles, has proven to be generally reliable, and when paired with Audi's legendary all-wheel drive system, it offers a great drive on any road surface or weather condition. On top of the great mechanical hardware, the A5's interior, rendered in high-quality wood, metal, and leather, is the definition of luxurious, but with a hint of sporty as well. With a nicely shaped dash, great seats, good two-tone interior color combinations, and a precise gear shift. It's an expensive-feeling car that will have you smiling every time you get into it. While the car looks expensive and certainly looks great, the price tag is just as good, as you can get a 2009 model for just under $12,000. The Maserati GHIBLI. Maserati is a glorified brand famous for its dashing vehicles. Then let's be honest, most people are going to assume that you're downright wealthy when they see that Trident badge. Non-car guys seem to think that Maserati is in the same league as Aston Martin or even a Bentley, when in reality, of course, it isn't. While many people may not think that this Italian car brand as a means for an attainable everyday luxury car, the fact is that buying your own Maserati can be a lot more affordable than you think, and you can actually save over $70,000 by purchasing a used Maserati GHIBLI. The 2017 Maserati GHIBLI is all about style and glamour since there aren't many practical aspects of this sedan. This model is available with 2 different powertrains. The cheapest one is a quote base GHIBLI, which means that its 3-liter twin turbocharged V6 engine produces 345 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque, which is still enough for you to hit 60 miles per hour in just 5.5 seconds, with the help of an 8-speed automatic transmission. The SQ4 variant with all-wheel drive features the same V6, but it's tuned to produce 404 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque, accelerating to 60 miles per hour in just 4.7 seconds. No matter which engine you choose, you'll find that the GHIBLI offers plenty of power. However, the GHIBLI doesn't always feel smooth when turning tight corners. On the plus side, the GHIBLI offers a long list of standard tech features. Well, as you probably have heard, Maserati isn't well known for its reliability, and its vehicles are also expensive to maintain. While buying a used Maserati is enticing, particularly because of the discounted price tags, the GHIBLI doesn't have necessarily strong reliability ratings from experts such as Consumer Reports, not to mention that the 2017 model had 5 vehicle safety recalls. Yet again, there are very few luxury cars at this price point, with some of the cheapest models starting at just $18K. Another positive thing that really stands out about the GHIBLI is its exhaust note. Maserati absolutely perfected this in their cars. I guess you can partially give credit to Ferrari for the engine. The Mercedes-Benz CLA. Frankly, who would even think of a Mercedes-Benz and affordable in the same paragraph, let alone same sentence? Mercedes-Benz is what most of us would equate with luxury and the wealth needed to afford that kind of luxury. Buying an entry-level Mercedes-Benz such as the CLA class no longer means compromising on refinement or driving satisfaction. While it shares its platform with the A-Class, the CLA offers swoopier, coupe-like styling, handling is reasonably nimble, and the ride is refined. It's not particularly roomy, especially in the rear seat, but cargo space is more than enough. Overall, the CLA represents a modern Mercedes-Benz experience in a bite-sized package, and earns a spot on this list of cheap luxury cars that fool people into thinking they're expensive. Under the hood is a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that generates 221 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. Gears are shifted by a 7-speed automatic transmission. Front-wheel drive is standard, and all-wheel drive is available, pushing the car to 60 miles per hour in just 5.6 seconds. The CLA class offers handling that's polished, with nicely calibrated steering steering, minimum body roll when cornering, and a pleasantly firm brake pedal. Unfortunately, downshifts from the gearbox are occasionally clunky. While it does have only 200 horsepower, it does get great gas mileage and looks amazing. And of course, driving one makes you look like a millionaire. The CLA is cheaper due to its lack of power and is a more everyday model for Mercedes. Plus, you can get a current used model for just $13,000. The Cadillac CTS-V. Cadillacs are known for having some of the most stylish cars on the market without charging you an arm and a leg. Affordable luxury vehicles should be Cadillac's middle name, with only the recent change in their stable being a higher focus on luxury. Cadillac threw one of its first serious punches at German luxury brands like BMW and Mercedes-Benz roughly a decade ago when it began offering the CTS-V, a Corvette-powered sedan that, in theory, competed directly with the BMW M5. It's the upgraded version of the CTS and has been around since 2004. There are three different body styles available, and they all have a pushrod OHV V8 engine paired with a sport-tuned suspension. Here at Modern Muscle, we like to keep things short and simple, so here are 3 reasons why the CTS-V is a smart choice. Number 1, raw power. With 400 horsepower and 395 pound-feet of torque, there's one thing you can't dispute about the CTS-V: it's sticking fast in a straight line. Optional suspension upgrades give it more respectable handling, but you're never gonna want for extra grunt with this thing. A second-generation CTS-V model comes equipped with a supercharged 6.2-liter V8 engine producing 556 horsepower, reaching 0 to 60 in just 3.9 seconds. Number 2, value. The original MSRP for the CTS-V was a bargain besides cars like the M5, and the same holds true assuming that all factors are the same. Number 3, it looks far more expensive than it actually is. At least to some people, there's something intriguing about driving a Cadillac with Corvette power that you won't get from driving an M5 or an E55 AMG from the same era. These cars were fast, sleek, and most importantly, inexpensive. They're much more affordable than their competitors, like an Audi RS6, BMW M5, and Mercedes-Benz E63 AMG. Although these cars start at $60,000, you can find used models for nearly half that, costing you only $30,000. The Chrysler 300. While this car won't trick any real car guy into thinking you're Jeff Bezos, there's a 34% chance that non-car people will think you're Bill Gates behind the wheel. The unmistakable front end sort of represents something that it's not. A $455,000 Rolls-Royce Phantom, or maybe a $200,000 Bentley Continental. Hell, why not both? Large sedans are quickly disappearing from dealership showrooms, but the Chrysler 300 is one big 4-door that continues to soldier on. It harkens back to a time when large American sedans were powered by big displacement engines and ruled the road. Buyers can choose from either a V6 or a V8 engine, the latter which is mighty powerful but guzzles fuel like a truck. Inside, the 300 offers a spacious cabin for 4 adults. Although it would be a stretch to call it a luxury sedan, the 300 delivers a few driving thrills, and unless you go with the more sportier 300S, a controlled and easy ride. In the large car segment, the 300 is unusual for its rear-wheel drive layout, and it's available with a Hemi V8 engine with 363 horsepower. All-wheel drive is optional, but only with the standard 292 horsepower 3.6-liter V6 engine. With the V6 model, 0 to 60 happens in 6.3 seconds, and the V8 5.3 seconds, which is not bad for a 4-door sedan. The 300 also has pretty decent handling for a car of its size. Its body roll is well controlled, and the chassis is willing to play, as long as you don't get overly aggressive. The rather strong lines of this car have aged well, and no one needs a 300 to change or get modernized too much. The base model starts at about $34,000 with a respectable 3.6-liter V6, paired with an automatic transmission and runs smoothly and powerfully. The front grille logo, the standard 18-inch wheels, as well as Chrysler's mammoth-like size, make it far more pricier than its actual cost, as do the premium interiors. Overall, if you're looking for a cheap way to get into a luxury car, well, the Chrysler 300 could be a good choice. It's packed with a ton of features you wouldn't normally get for the price, and the muscular exterior design resembles an exclusive car. And if you debadge it, you may fool a bunch of people when you're out on the road. Reliability-wise, well, I think we all know how it goes when it comes to Fiat. This is probably why you can find them for so cheap on the used market, with 2015 models starting for just $10K. The Ferrari Mondial. While this next car may not be luxury per se, I'm sorry, but the fact that you can actually own a Ferrari for a Toyota Camry money needs to be discussed. Introduced in 1980, the Mondial was the successor to the 308 GT4. Despite the fact that the Mondial was more practical and somewhat cheaper, it wasn't particularly popular, and today it's one of the rare poorly regarded models in the Ferrari community. The Mondial 8, just like the whole Mondial family, used a mid-rear mounted V8 engine, featuring a Bosch fuel injection system. It shared with the 308 and was based on the unit mounted under the hood of a Ferrari Dino. The Mondial's chassis was also shared with previous models, but was stretched by 3.9 inches. The suspension used unequal length double wishbones and Connie dampers all around. Thanks to its construction, it was the cheapest Ferrari to maintain, because major services were performed without removing the entire engine and transmission subframe. Sadly, there is a catch when it comes to this cheap luxury/sports car. It was arguably the slowest Ferrari ever put into production. Not only was it relatively heavy at 3,400 pounds, but its V8 engine with a pitiful 214 horsepower was painfully underpowered. So pitiful that 0 to 60 happened in as slow as hell 9.5 seconds. It's pretty simple. When you get characteristics of an affordable sports car, you expect it to be, well, cheap. However, the Mondial 8 was listed at $64,000 when it was produced in 1988, some $26,000 more than the 300 horsepower Porsche 930 Turbo at that time. But don't worry, you won't be paying anything close to that, and for good reason. You see, not only was the Mondial slow as hell, but it was also unreliable as the complicated Bosch injection system is completely mechanical and doesn't have a computer controlling fuel delivery, as just a few relays handle the cold start sequence. It was an unreliable mechanism to say the least. The gearbox, using an automatic clutch, was also susceptible to issues. For all of these reasons, production ended in 1993, after close to 5,000 examples were made. But today, this is one of the cheapest ways into Ferrari ownership. You'll find a Mondial for only $30,000, and current trends suggest that this cheap Ferrari's value will only go up in the future, making it a solid investment. Well guys, those are 7 cheap luxury cars that fool people into thinking that they're expensive. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Also, if you like what you see at the channel, subscribe and put post notifications on. You could also follow the channel on Instagram at ModernMuscleYT. I'm Jeff for Modern Muscle, and I'll see ya next time.